Hi everyone, this is a kinematics example. This isn't in your notes, so you'll want to take a second to read it. I'm going to jump in here and read it out. A school bus travels 100 meters east while slowing down. The bus reduces its velocity for 5 seconds and has an acceleration of negative 4.0 meters per second squared while slowing down. We're going to determine the initial velocity of the bus in kilometers per hour and what was the final velocity of the bus after the 5 seconds. So, as always, write down the information you're given. You'll go through it. It travels 100 meters east. It reduces its velocity for 5 seconds. The acceleration is negative 4 meters per second squared. Now I went to the other line, so I'm just going to write it in there so I have it. And we want to find the initial velocity. So let's do part A first. We know that it probably started at 0 because it doesn't say anything else. We know that its final position is 100 meters. The time is 5 seconds, and you should get used to being able to just look at the units, and you'll know from the units what you're dealing with. So 5 seconds. Accelerations in meters per second squared, so that's negative 4 meters per second squared, and it asks you what is the initial velocity. So of course, your first question is what formula to use. So I've actually written them out over here on the side. What formula do I want to use? So I'm looking for the initial velocity. This formula, and this formula all have initial velocity in them. If you look, you have the time, so that one might work. I don't have the final velocity, so that one's out. And I don't have the average velocity, so that one's out. Do I have the positions? I do. This formula is going to work for us. Remember, it's all just kind of a process of elimination. When you get enough practice, you can look at a question and know what formula you need. But right now, while we're still working on the introduction, you're going to have to practice picking through which ones. So I've written my formula out because I always have to write my formula out. We know this is 0. So I'm going to write the numbers in. All right, so I've gone and put the numbers in. So remember to put them in exactly as they're given. Don't do any squaring, anything before you get to there. I'm going to go one step further. This is V0 times 5. And this number right here would be half of 4 is 2 times 25, so minus 50. I'm going to move the 50 to the other side. Bring that over here, and I would add it to the other side. So I have 150 equals V0 times 5. And of course, I would divide by the 5 on both sides. So V0 equals 30 meters per second. But we want the answer in kilometers per hour, so I multiply by 3.6. That gives me initial velocity of 108 kilometers per hour. So that was part A. I'm going to give you a second to look at that, and I'm going to erase this. So I'm going to do part B now that I have some information. All right, so we figured out from the first part that the initial velocity was 30 meters per second. That's information we discovered. So I'm going to maybe I'll highlight that. So this is new information. That's not given information. So if you can avoid working with calculated information, it's better. Anyway, part B says, what is the final velocity of the bus after 5 seconds? So I'm not going to rewrite all my givens because this information is still given. But I want to find the final velocity. So I'm back to looking at my formulas, and I want one with final velocity in it. So there's this one, and there's this one with final velocity. You'll notice you don't have average velocity, so that one is out. So this formula, try to make this a little neater. Didn't succeed. V equals V0 plus AT. And now I'm looking for V, and the initial velocity is 30 plus the acceleration, which is negative 4. You'll notice we didn't use all of the variables over here. This time we don't need them all, but they were given so that we could do both parts of the question. My missing value is time. Sorry, no, that's not true. Time is 5 seconds. So the final velocity is 30 minus 20. If you need a calculator, do what you got to do, but you should be able to do that without a calculator. 10 meters per second. And of course, anything that's a vehicle, you should probably convert it to kilometers per hour. It doesn't ask us to, but I'm going to. So V equals 36 kilometers per hour. And you should always finish these up with a statement. So I'm going to finish it with a statement. So I won't take your time to watch me typing this out. So I've already pre-typed it. So to answer the questions, the initial velocity of the bus was 108 kilometers an hour, and it's low to 36 kilometers an hour after 5 seconds. So if you're not sure, go back, watch through that. All the pieces of the video will be there. If you have any questions, ask me when you see me again or send me an email, and I hope that helped. Thanks.